play, was there a temptation to keep a little bit more consistency at all, given the first up defeat?
No. We've sort of had a plan about how we wanted to approach this. We've also had to adapt that plan, I guess, based on injuries and who's coming back. But no, we're pretty satisfied that we obviously need to rebound from round one, but that's okay. We've just got it's a key game for us to get right, and so we've selected it accordingly.
Love to have Damien at 10. What do you want to see from him this week?
Oh, just run the game. We want the way we want to play it, and I'm sure he will. He's trained really well. He's he's keen, and he's very clear about what we want to achieve out of him.
What kind of key things will you be looking for in particular out of the game?
Oh, I think it's World Cups. You're pitched against teams that you haven't played. You don't play very often, and so you've got to enjoy that sort of moment. We're playing Namibia. It's sort of the only time we meet at World Cups, and in many ways they're exciting games because of that. So we're in a new city for us. It's I don't think we've played here since the 2007 World Cup. So there's a whole lot of new things for us. But World Cups are about making sure that games like this, we've got to make, obviously got a job to do in terms of getting a result, and we've also got to make sure that we go out and express ourselves and play the game the way we want to play it. Just explain. Yep, sorry.
Talked about how the last games were 27 minutes of running time. Or is that something you're looking to play?
Look, we'd love to, but I think I think round one was dominated by the conditions, by the heat, by humidity, and it wasn't the easiest thing to do. So there was a lot more kicking. I think in our game there's a massive amount of kicking. I'm not sure I've seen a test match like that. So, I think the weather's it looks like it's going to cool down a little bit. We still want to play our game. It's a combination of ball in hand and kicking, and we've got to be cognizant of the fact that defences want to come up quite quick and shut you down. So you've still got to play a kicking game, but certainly we'll be looking to to try to execute what we want to do really, really well.
Ardie, what do you want to see from your team in this game?
Yep. Obviously we got a game plan that we want to attack and do this week, and just want the guys to go out there and do their job and express themselves and enjoy it, but also in the right. Like Foz said, it's a good opportunity for us to really bounce back, and this weekend's another opportunity for us to do that. So it's going to be good.
Could you just speak to Sam Whitelock's special milestone in Chiefs, joining Richie McCaw on 148?
Yeah, look, it's a massive occasion for Sam and for us as a team. I think he's been a sort of a warrior for this team for obviously a long time, and to equal someone like Richie test matches for the All Blacks is a massive achievement. So I know how much we all know how much it means for him to put on a black jersey, and to do it for the 148th time is a very special occasion. So one that we just want to make sure we put a performance on that gives that sort of record a lot of respect, and then celebrate it with him afterwards. So, but I think just want to pass on to him and his family. It's a great honour what he's achieving.
From a player's perspective, can you just tell us what Sam means to the team and what he adds, the guy is?
He's been around for a long time, over Sammy, but something that I really admire and obviously look up to is the way he's goes about his money. Obviously everyone knows he's a hard worker and he works hard, but for me I think just seeing him being able to grow and adapt to, obviously he's been here since the likes of Richie and Rito and that in this team, and then you've got the younger generation coming through, and something that I've observed of Sammy is the way he's able to relate to everyone and try and understand other people and other cultures and whatnot. And that's something that kind of, for me, is I look at that and I'm like, yo, I got your back. So that's something that I really admire about Sammy, and for him to be able to do this milestone, I know for him, he will reflect on it after the game, but yeah, it's a huge honour for him and his family.
Ian, how far away was Sam Kane from being available?
Probably not that close. You know, I think he's certainly progressing well, but probably not as close as we would have liked to be fit on Friday. So, and you know, because we're judging their process at the start of the week really, and he just wasn't as smooth. He had a couple of days that he sort of plateaued, but the last 2 days have been really good. So, so we're hoping that you know, I would like to think that he's getting back into training next week. He's was certainly moving around well and running around the park today on the sideline better than what he was 2 days ago. So signs are really positive. Yeah, Geordie's the same. Look, to be fair with Geordie, it's a knee that's not too bad, but it's just the jarring of it that irritates it, and so we've had a chance to really just take him out this week and not try to even test it. So we'll be doing that next week in Bordeaux when we're there. But he's actually behaving himself really well. I thought he'd get very impatient, being Geordie Barrett, but he's actually doing pretty good. Look, just carry on the progress of what he's doing. It's an exciting time for him. You know, I think the times that he's come off the bench, he's done a really good job for us and learning all the time. He's gaining in composure, and it's a very real opportunity for him. You know, I know he'll be very proud to start, and to start at a World Cup is pretty special. So can't wait to see him go out there, and I'm sure there'll be a few nerves early on, but you know, he's a quality player. He's doing a lot of work behind the scenes and has impressed us in that regard. So love to see him transfer that onto the park.
How open is the backup halfback spot to Aaron? You've tended to go with Finlay in most of your big tests, but how open is it? Is that backup 9 spot?
Yeah, I think there's good competition there.
Ardie, can you give us an insight to Cameron again? You've known him pretty well from the Hurricanes. What's he like?
Yeah, he's a quiet assassin, that guy. Cam. He's good. He's one of those guys that's really quiet, but deep down he's a competitor and he doesn't like losing. So, you know, like for example, like Nug was in the gym this week and he was pumping some good bench press weights, and I see Cam in the corner of my eye just watching him. Hey, go do your weights. But it's like I said it before, I think in another interview, like it's awesome to see Cam where he is, and I guess, and to see where he's come from and the journey he's kind of taken, and it's awesome that he gets the opportunity today. But yeah, he's a quiet man, but hopefully he's not quiet this week, but he really speaks through his actions.
Ozzy, did your old mate have any useful advice for you this week while he was here?
Yep. Those who know Steve, he's got plenty of advice. So we had a great time. It was great seeing him in, and you know, we just let him sort of mix and mingle and watch, and but it was good to have him. And yeah, he just cast an eye over what we're doing, and you know, more about the mood of the camp and just where things are at, and it was a good thing for us.
Ian, some of the numbers that emerged this week about teams and how they like to play and not keeping the ball for more than 20 seconds or 3 phases. Is it anything new to you, and how do you combat that, teams that don't want to play, they want to kick all the time, basically?
Yeah, look, it's the thing is we don't coach by stats, but we use stats, and so stats give you an idea of how other teams are going and how you're going, and you know, we've got a clear idea. If you look at, you know, the way we play, we've always been a team we've looked to strike early in phases. If you look at the 2 tries we got against France, very much about that. and I think the conditions meant it became harder and harder to play a multi-phase game, and when it was hard to actually control the ball, you saw the ball sort of pop out in contact, not only in our game but just about in every game in that first round. So you had to be really careful that when you did want to play a retention game, that you were doing it in the right ends of the park, and you were doing it in a situation that you still, I think, had momentum. So I think you got teams that if they're not going forward, they're going to probably kick a lot more than perhaps what they usually would, and maybe there's a good lesson for us there.
Do you see common themes in the way teams want to play you?
Yep, but they've been around for a while. But every team's got a different strategy, and I think France's strategy against us was pretty consistent with how they've played regularly for the last 2 years. So I'm not sure it was particular to us, and like I said at the time, I think largely I thought there was, for a significant part of that game, I thought we were dealing with that really, really well, and so whilst the result, victors are always grinners, and their strategy is always right, we've taken some painful lessons, but we're still strong believers in what we do, and we've just got to make sure that shows up this week.
Jan, I guess you have reviewed many times the game. If you remember action 24 minutes, 40 seconds, you have 4 forwards. The French defense is open. They have Jalibert, the weakest defender, and they choose to go to the hooker. How can you explain that, and what do you tell to the boys when they make such kind of decision?
Sounds like you need some sleep, Kareem. 24 minutes and 36 seconds. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the game's about decision making, and the game is about sort of getting your structures in place, and then you make decisions within that. I mean, and I back our players' decisions all the time. Do we get them all right? No, we don't. And sometimes our communication in rugby is not quite the same. Is not quite where it should be, and I get all that. But if you looked at every missed opportunity you had, and that's what coaches do, and that's what teams do, but every team misses opportunities. The good thing in that game is the amount of opportunities that we created, and for us, and we looked at it and think, well, we didn't execute as well as what we can, so let's just go away and learn and take that on. But generally I think we're pretty good at choosing where the space is, and do we get it right all the time? No, we don't. Is that pressure? It's always related to pressure, and that's what World Cups do. So some nice lessons for us about how to be calmer and maybe execute a little bit more under pressure. But we've got another opportunity on Friday to do that, and that's our goal.
As skipper again, how closely do you work with Sam Kane? Even though he's obviously not playing, do you guys still work quite closely together during the week?
Yeah, 100%, and with the rest of the senior leaders around the team.
And do you look at this next game at all as a chance to perhaps experiment with anything? Or is it just same as always?
I wouldn't use the word experiment. We've got a couple of areas we want to really focus on, and probably not gonna share what they are just yet. But I mean, there's facets of our game. I think in pool play, you've got to make sure you grow your game. You've got to get, and at the same time, you've got to get your performance right, grow your game, and be forward looking. And so there's things we've taken out of part of our plan is the last 2 or 3 games. There's some areas that we actually feel we need to get a bit more of an edge in. So this is a chance for us to do that. So. And so, yes, you overemphasise a couple of areas when you go into we will be this game, but it's important that we get those focuses right, but at the same time get the balance of winning a game of rugby that we really want to go out and perform well and do.
Should we be expecting more attacking kicks from the captain?
Well, I said at the time, it's a pretty special try that. because
He doubted me all week.
I doubted him all week, to be fair. Well, you would have doubted him too if you saw his first left foot chip kick that he did at training. But it's to be fair to Ardie, he came to me and said, "Foz, there's a lot of space, and I'm going to try it." And I said, "Okay, well, let's have a look." And the first one was probably like my normal one wood drive on the first hole of a game of golf, and when I shank it. But the one he gave it under pressure was pretty special.
Now, you played against Namibia 4 years ago. What are sort of your predictions of that game and how they sort of approached the match?
Yeah, physical. They've got big men who don't step, they just run downhill. So, that's something that we've identified as a team and our defence, that it's one of their strengths. So, we're going to look forward to that on Friday.
Ian, do these All Blacks after these last two games just need to kind of rediscover a bit of identity, their confidence, just something? Is there something kind of this group needs to refine?
I don't think so. I think it's there. I think it's we had a really tough start. I mean, the South African test, like I keep talking about it, but I think it was in between a championship and a World Cup. I think there were a lot of variables in that game that delivered that performance. So, and I think that, but we went into that France one, and I think there were enough signs that we understand our game. I think we've got to do some more adaptation to conditions. That's one thing. I think that we still want to play, but we've also we know that in those big games you've got to get some basic things right. You've got to get your set piece right, and if you start to creak there, or you misinterpret what the ref's wanting, and you're not quick to adapt, then that generates pressure on a team. And I think that was the one of the big lessons, or the learnings for us in that France game. And so we've got to get that right. And so I've probably given you a pretty good clue about what's a big focus for us on Friday, and that probably reflects in the selection of sticking with the four props largely that we use, and we need to fix up some areas there. So, and I think once you get a couple of, they get consistency in those big rock parts of your game, I think the rest of the game is sitting there ready to go, but we've got to show that.
Guys, we've got time for one more before we bring in the next group. All happy? Sweet.
Thank you.